Want to thank you all for coming for this hybrid conference, yes, and to say thank you again, and hope to this conference we can organize it in other festivals as well. And if you all, as you all know, we are 5 festivals that has created this association of jazz festivals, and we are welcoming other festivals that they want to join us, of course. So for the start, I will give a word to our dear Arlette to introduce herself and to speak about the topics that she have prepared for us.
Everyone, my name's Arlette. I'm a jazz promoter and media director from the Netherlands. I'm based in Rotterdam. I am celebrating today. I just got my first downbeat review, 4 stars for one of my artists, which is amazing. I'm here to talk to you about jazz PR and about how promotion really works. Because I think that, the main question that I get from a lot of musicians, I do coaching as well. And one of the main questions is, what do we focus on first, bookings or PR? And a lot of musicians think that as long as we just play, everything's going to be great. And in a large part of times that is important and mostly true, but not entirely. So let me tell you a little story about that. I will also explain why many musicians are frustrated about jazz promoters and why we are not really as horrible as people say. Most of us, anyway. The fact that you're attending this talk today and you're here with us means that you are in a country with a decent jazz infrastructure. It has, this conference, and it has people in it that are working really hard to create and develop and expand your scene. And that means that most likely you have places to play and present new projects. So this is an extremely important first step for every jazz musician, for every musician. And that's great. Hats off to Sasha as well for that. So how do we move from there? If you have some, if you have some first gigs and maybe you're presenting your first album and all of that, after about 15 years in the industry, I can tell you one thing. It's not just about the music. Something that a lot of promoters will tell you is that there is a lot of good music. There are a lot of great musicians out there, and just playing a good gig isn't a story gig, and releasing one album is not always going to be the one thing that makes you stand out. And that's an important thing to think about, because at the end of the day, of course, music is created because you want it to be heard, because you want to, we spent the last year and a half performing without an audience. I am here. I would much rather be in the room with you, but unfortunately, everyone knows why that is not possible. So you want an audience for your music. And it really boils down to what your music is, who you are, what your story is. And my job as a press promoter mostly is to come up with a story together with an artist, and to come up with an angle that works for journalists. If there are promoters in other countries, they will likely look at press. They will look at their colleagues, but also they read magazines. Like in the Netherlands, it's Jazzism, and in the United States, it's Jazz Times or Downbeat, and in the UK, it'll be Jazz Wise or London Jazz News. There's probably a publication somewhere near you, and it is really, really helpful for you to out. A colleague of mine once said, if I read your bio and my only response is, so what, me too, then you're not doing it right. So this is a very, very important start. And then we have a good bio, which means that you have a baseline story for what you're doing, and see it as a coat rack, basically. Your biography is your coat rack, and you hang your albums and your projects and everything that you do on it. And then it still makes sense because that's where coats go. And I think this is really important. So when we have a good story and we have a good biography and, you know, people are starting to understand you have a good press quote in your press kit. Press kit is only one page, by the way. Give me links, a short biography, a link to a video, and, you know, one good photo. I want to see your eyes, no sunglasses. You're not Stevie Wonder. And no, I'm serious. I mean, I spoke to so many promoters, and what happens a lot is they either say, well, you know, I have a photo or a video that's recorded on stage with my phone, and I just hear people talking. And one of my close friends is a promoter here in Rotterdam, and he said, well, I never book those bands, and I'll email them back and I'll be nice about it. But if your audience in a video doesn't want to shut up and listen to you, then why should I? And I think that's a pretty good point, because at the end of the day, it's like an elevator pitch. You want to show the best side of yourself. You're well put together. You have a story. You stand for something. I think every musician under the sun that is even remotely serious will agree that they stand for their music. They believe in it. They think that it is worthy of time, attention, and hopefully praise. So make sure that every single thing that you have to show puts that love and seriousness in it, because you put that into your music, but you have to put it in the other side as well.
But once again, to introduce myself, my name is Petrovac. I am a classical and contemporary pianist. I also teach piano at the Music Academy in Štip here in Macedonia. And I work as a president and artistic director, mostly one-man show in organizing the Festival of Contemporary Music Modo Ars that runs every year in Skopje. So I would like to say that it is a great pleasure to be part of this conference and to meet all of you. Today I will share my thoughts and my opinions on the topic of the conference. I will talk about the problems and the difficulties that the festival organizers meet, at least from my experience here on the Balkans. Even if there are many objectives to follow, my focus for solving these difficulties is on two important things. The first one is branding and marketing strategy for the festival, and the second one is networking. The Modo Ars Festival that I organize this year will have its 14th edition, and I've organized many successful events, concerts, besides many local artists. Modo Ars was a host of many musicians from all over the world. So at first we were struggling to promote the concerts and to attract more audience. And at one point, even I started to ask myself, okay, what am I doing wrong here? I have an excellent artist with a great program. I have concert halls. I did the promotion, but still was not many people showing interest to come at the events, and even less to pay for a ticket or to attract sponsors. Then I realized that the audience, at least here in Macedonia, is not very familiar with the classical or contemporary music. Macedonia is a small country, and only little number of people are truly enjoying visiting classical and contemporary music concerts. What they do as promotion is not enough to educate or to attract the audience, and I realized that I have to make a little bit different strategy in promoting the festival. So first I had to realize on which target groups of audience I need to focus in order to grow the festival. So what I started to do is an open air concerts, or in some places that were less formal than, let's say, Philharmonic stage or other concert hall. Then I started to mix more events in one night. For example, a classical music concert, then with an exhibition or a poetry reading, at the end ending with a DJ performance. Then I start to organize concerts in different locations, to use places that were not used for concerts before. And that seemed pretty interesting for the people and attracted them to come and visit and see the events we organized. The results were astonishing, and more people started to come. So in that sense, we were starting to building the brand. Modo Ars as a festival who is doing events that are interested for everyone. It is important to say that with all these alternative solutions, I do not want to make artists or their work less important, but just I want to find an alternative way to present it to the audience. So all this I said with the very simple words. Of course, in the marketing business, it's called creating branding and marketing strategies for music festivals. Recently, I've talked to Vinko, the manager of the Petrovac Jazz Festival, who shared with me some excellent ideas on how to make a brand out of the festival in a way of making it a visiting destination, to connect it with visiting the town, the historical places, local attractions, even better, the local winery. So I think that's a very interesting idea that I might use in future, and maybe later Vinko will explain more about it. So back to the branding and marketing strategies. In the work of music festival, they involve several points. So first to create a business strategy, then to identify the target group of audience you want to attract, to engage all the artists that participate to spread the word, to do live stream. That's important now, especially in this pandemic time. It showed that we have to do live streamings as well. Of course, to do the marketing with the social and digital media, to organize the festival on many different locations, and of course, to rely on partners, on promotions, or any other help. So this last point actually leads to the second thing I wanted to appoint. Networking or having partners is a very important thing in the work of this music festival business. So the festivals of the same or the similar kind must cooperate, must create collaborations, do an artistic exchange, or help each other in any possible way, at least here on the Balkans. When we support each other, then we have more power, of course, and with the partners, the music festival becomes stronger, improve itself, and has opportunity to grow. So that's why I think Sasha, as an organizer of this conference, is doing a great job. I hope that this is a good start that opens the possibility for collaborations between the festival, artists, music managers. Sasha, I also want to congratulate you for the excellent work of the organization of the Jazz Factory Festival this year. We can say that it is becoming a well-known brand on the Macedonian scene, and hopefully it will become a brand outside of the borders too.
To call me a director, it's a big honest, because I'm a worker, I'm organizer, I'm a volunteer, I'm the last director. Mainly, we choose musicians who will play in our small city with our colleagues. We organize gigs since 2007, but we are still a small festival in the middle of nowhere. So city with 10,000 citizens, there is not a lot of jazz audience, but we always fill our small place. And what's the biggest difference between our and other jazz venues is that we support local musicians in jazz education. So we have our own jazz school. It's not official jazz school, but it's during whole year jazz education for kids. We recorded some CDs, and we are looking for cooperation with other festivals. Our jazz education for kids is based on children folk songs, so they play music they already know from their childhood, and we are looking for someone who will do the same in their region. So then we can do something together. Our kids can play your music, your kids can play our music, then they can join. Of course, there are some practical problems with age, because we start with kids which are 10, 11 years old, and they cannot travel to Macedonia until they are 18 without their parents or strong support team, which we don't have. But if they start with 12, in 6 years, they will be 18, so we can do something, I think, amazing, not just good. Otherwise, our festival is based on mostly Slovenian jazz musicians, because we cannot afford stars which played on bigger festivals also in Slovenia, but we had some famous names which came with our musicians. But we are, as I already said, the most proud we are on our own musicians or on our own production, not on gigs which we can hardly pay to invite someone who is very famous and very expensive. So if someone is interested in cooperation, that will be a huge step forward. Thank you.
That's cool. My question is, what age are these kids actually?
We started with kids which are age 11, 12, and then mostly when they grow up, they go to bigger cities like Ljubljana.
Okay.
Again, mostly they stay there. But we have, I think, 2, 3, 4 our former students which already graduated, 2 in jazz, 2 in other contemporary music. So when we started, we didn't have possibility to make a single gig with our musicians. We only have one saxophone player. Now we have the whole band, bass player, drummers, percussionists. So I'm proud on this, that we not just organize events and the festivals, and so we made a brand new jazz venue in the middle of in a region where there was no jazz at all. So, and now we have our own jazz bands which are always ready to play, and there is always audience which is ready to listen to them. But your main question, its age is now from 12 to 25.
So much. Yeah, Shasho, as I said, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak here to all these interesting people and to get to know you. And so Shasho and me, we met online during the pandemic. So there are also good things that happened in the past year. And Shasho and me, we were then talking about what could be my contribution to this conference. And so I decided to show you what all my activities are at the moment, what projects I work on. So I have different role in this somehow industry, but I'm also going to do a revenue breakdown. So I actually checked out in the last week where actually my money comes from. I was earning in the last year. And so it was very interesting for me, and I will show you what I found out. So I have a little presentation here. I hope you can see it. So this is a collection of the projects I'm working on. The first one is Moon Mod, that is a sextet with people from the UK. We're playing since 2017. We released an album. We played the last tour before the lockdown. We played the 13 shows, and the last one was cancelled. So we were really lucky. And then the Fisherman's Orchestra I'm playing with since 2007, and before the pandemic. So in 2018 we were in South America. In 2019 we played in the Cairo Jazz Festival, and we went to Dubai. So this is a crazy project because it's 15 people traveling around the world. And then inside the Baxter building is a trio where I actually play a lot of electronic music. These are so my 3 main bands. I mean, there are other bands where I'm a sideman, but that's the bands where I'm actually more a leader or project manager. Then I host a radio show. So every Sunday I host a radio show on a community radio here in Bern, the capital of Switzerland. And one of the new projects I have are the Swiss Jazz Days. This will be a Swiss Jazz conference, and it will take place the first time in February 2022. And the idea is that we meet there as the Swiss jazz scene, that we can actually become aware of the scene, of being allies. So normally it's like everybody is fighting on his own, but it's really nice, like today, when you meet like-minded people and you can exchange. And we want to do 2 days, and we will just organize the talking and the event and the Congress, and we will do it parallel to a jazz festival, the Jazz Werkstatt in Bern. That is one of the most interesting jazz festivals to me in Switzerland. And so it's going to be the festival, and parallel to the festival, we're going to do this conference. And then my major takeaways are actually, I try to diversify actually my activities so that I have different roles, but all the roles I have, they are somehow around playing music, playing jazz. But when I'm a teacher, I have different insights than when I'm actually being a musician, or when I'm a musical director, I have different insights than when I'm just a trombone player. When I'm a radio host, I have different insights into how this community works than when I'm a musician, and this is really interesting. Then one of my credos is that I try to create opportunities, and then when the opportunities they show up, I try to see them and to detect them and then grasp them and act on them. Like, for example, this band Moonmot, where I'm playing with people from the UK, they were invited to play in Bern for a festival, and then I was invited to play with them together. And because this was a really good group and the music really suited to me, and it really spoke to me how we worked together. And it was like, from the first moment on, it was just great to play with these musicians. Then I decided, okay, let's try to make a project from this opportunity. And now, like 3 years later, we're really a band who is playing and performing and releasing. And another key takeaway for me is help other people, and people will return favors. So when I do something for someone else, I don't ask necessarily in this moment, so what can I get from this when I help you? But I just help people, and then people will remember this later. Maybe it's like 5 years later, and they will return favors. That's just being human and being friendly. And then networking is really important. So if you know, I think Arlette already talked about this too. And the reason why we are here is that's also because getting to know people, be kind to people, help people, be friendly. And this is just, I think this is how the world actually works. And it's much more fun when you're kind, and being kind is free. And smiling is free too.
Hello to everybody, and Sasha, thanks for having me. I'm Ivan Teofilovic. I'm a musician from Belgrade, professor of saxophone and clarinet, former board member of Valjevo Jazz Fest, and founder of a festival called Colors of the World. So what I would like to talk here is it's kind of follow up on Emma's and Robbie's story. It's about facing difficulties in organizing events here in this region of Balkans. Because I used to organize Valjevo Jazz Fest, which is going on for like 36 years, which is a huge tradition. And it came up to one point where it almost turned to pop festival, because by excuse that there wasn't the audience for the jazz music. And Milan would know, Sasha also, that is the main question here in Balkans. Is there audience for jazz or artistic music? It's not what people want. People want popular music and everything. So what we did is kind of, we decided to turn to young people and to kids, because we were led by this sentence of mine, which was, the audience is not being bored. The audience is being made. So first thing what we did is we organized a festival for kids and youth, which was held like one weekend before official festival. The next thing we thought about is how to involve young kids and young people into organizing the festival, because we wanted them to feel that this festival is their own and they are doing it. We wanted them to connect with it. So what we did is we made a second line parade, like New Orleans style second line parade, with 700 kids walking through the town, dancing, you know, and to the jazz music. So they felt like they were performing. We had them volunteer and organize the whole festival. Also, we took the kids from that are students of the Jazz Academy in Belgrade. We brought them there for 7 days. They were our session band. They started every session. We almost obligated the musicians to do workshops, you know, not to come there, play a gig, but to come there, play a gig and spend some time with those kids and with youth. Even if not, you know, workshop, even, you know, they could talk to them, you know, talk to them about becoming a jazz musician, becoming a musician at all, and the difficulties it carries with it. And I think in one point we succeeded, you know, because as Sasha said, after a while we had like a full audience, you know, we have like full seats, and we had people talking about jazz. So I think, you know, I think that's a good idea. Education is a really key role. It's important. It's not only, you know, that you come to a concert, listen to good music, you know, and go home and everything is fine. But we have to educate kids and to learn them, you know, that to give them opportunity to listen to that kind of music, because they have all the opportunities to listen to pop music and popular music at all, you know, they have it. This kind of thing they don't have. And also one thing to think about for me is like when I started organizing Value Jazz Fest, I thought about what next, what I could do next. And then we came up with the idea with this festival called Colors of the World, where we did some of things that Emma mentioned, you know, take it out of the closed space. And the festival is imagined to happen into this canyon of River Gradac, which is really beautiful with beautiful nature. So the setup already is such a beautiful thing. And next thing I thought about is to make a festival where musicians would come and be our guests, not only to come play a gig and go on to the next thing, but rather than that to come there, spend 5 days, and I wanted to break up this thing, you know, like a musician being on a stage and the audience being over there listening to me and admiring me, you know. Instead of that, we could spend time all day long with the audience in beautiful setup. We could connect, you know, with it was like thought of like cultural exchange, something that owner of a record label that we are, you know, part of in Budapest. He has this festival called Bubble Sound, where he gathers like every year 200 musicians from all around the world, give them opportunities to collaborate. We have a studio over there, so during the festival we can do collaborations of all kinds. we have accommodation, like food 24 hours a day, drinks and everything. Of course, we are all paid for our gigs, but instead of that, we are paid in like doing this great thing, and that is networking, you know. And also that thing that you can spend time with audience, you know, that you can share, you know, this energy is also one thing that is unique. So I think that is also kind of future, because in this pandemic time, you know, we are all we all have to turn to ourselves, you know, musicians and booking agents and promoters and everybody to work all together to make it through.
Ja dolazim iz malog grada sa severa Vojvodine, u kome uspevam već evo 20 godina da organizujem jedan interesantan jazz i blues festival.
I come from a small town in Vojvodina in Serbia, and for the last 20 years I have successfully tried to realize a jazz and blues festival. 20 years.
Ja nisam profesionalac u onom muzičkom smislu, ali sam veliki ljubitelj, zbog toga sam i osnovao, prepoznao da je u određenom momentu bilo potrebe da se ovako nešto uradi u mom gradu.
I'm not a music professional, but I'm a great fan, and I realized that there is a great need to organize something like this in my town.
Uspeo sam to, kazao sam, već nekih 20 godina. Imali smo priliku da čujemo umetnike iz bukvalno celog sveta.
I succeeded in that because in the last 20 years we have heard musicians from all over the world on our festival.
Međutim, u posljednjih par godina situacija u Srbiji je takva da su osnovni problem finansije i vrlo malo se ulaže u kulturu, tako da svake godine imamo sve veći problem i vrlo teško uspevamo da organizujemo festival onako kako smo navikli to do sada.
However, unfortunately, in the last few years, there are financial problems in our Republic of Serbia. So we have some financial problems in the realizing the festival and everything that comes with it.
Jedan od razloga je i zašto je ideja o osnivanju asocijacije Jazz festivala je upravo bilo to da pokušamo nas nekoliko zemalja da se ujedinimo i da potražimo uslovno rečeno pomoć i ka evropskim fondovima i ka svim evropskim festivalima kako bi dalje sarađivali.
So one of the main ideas of forming this jazz association or association of jazz festivals is to find collaborations within this association and also ask for help and support from other European festivals and organizations.
Ništa, ja bih za sad toliko samo rekao, dovoljno je koliko sam mogao da predstavim svoj festival. Ako ima pitanja, tu sam, pa ćemo pričati dalje.
For now, that's all I had to say about my festival and about what we do. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation, Sasha. Well, today I represent the Jazz Fortnight Festival. What makes unique, what makes this small festival unique is that it is actually a organic extension of the work that I have been doing with my jazz label. So primarily, I come from a legal background and IPR, intellectual property rights management company. I started working on issues related to copyrights and related rights. And I noticed that the music industry is now going through a massive shift. Significant changes are evolving in this past decade or two. I see that the digital age has brought significant changes, and my main goal here was to bridge the gap between the old and the new. So, for example, my label is focusing a little bit more on Spotify rather than FM radio. We are focusing a little bit more on YouTube rather than classical TV stations. Unfortunately, what I saw is that there's still a lot of work to be done here. This transition is a little bit difficult because, as all the previous guests has mentioned, Emma shared her views on how she had to adjust her festival to suit the audience. Arlette showed a little bit more about how music artists has to think a little bit different about PR and marketing. Simon shared his opinion on how we have to be now multi-project managers and work 10 different works at a time. So my main goal here was just to have a company that will support artists and take a little bit more of that workload. So rather than the musician having to be project managers, marketing directors, booking agents, and so on, I would have liked to take that in-house and provide support from a more operational and technical and administrative work, and then just let the artist create. And one of that was the necessity to create a venue where the artists or the music material that I publish under my record label have to be presented, have to be played, and this is where the actual festival came about, because by having an in-house festival, it is much more easier for me to book and to tailor-make the festival surrounding the artists that we want to promote. So again, in this festival, we are only focusing on artists that are published by my Jazz label. That is the material for Sasho. That was same. I hope in the near future it will be also a music event where we can present the material from Milan Petrovic, from whose compilation we just announced and we just promoted, and so on. The negative side of this is that since I'm coming from a legal background, I do have a little bit less knowledge in the actual jazz scene. And this is why the Jazz Festivals Association is a significant asset to me and very big help, because in this case, I can rely on the help of Sasho, Vinko, Dragan to guide me through the jazz aspect of the work, to give me guidance about the music and the artistic merits of what we are trying to present. And also I would like to, it will be a significant help to grow my network through, because the festival that I'm representing is also a traveling festival. It's primarily based in Skopje, but we do also organize gigs in other smaller cities, cities outside of Skopje, and hopefully I can also organize some events under this festival in other countries, like in Serbia and Slovenia. I look forward to visiting you all.
Sve u svemu pozdravljam ekipu, drago mi je da smo tu, a na prvom mjestu pozdravljam tri dame koje su tu sa nama, tako jedna pored tebe Saša, ali prvenstveno i prve dve dame koje su pričale. Ujedno, ekipa je sjajna, sviđa mi se priča. Da, u pravu si, tri festivala, jedan je Petrovac Jazz Festival koji slavi ove godine 15 godina postojanja, drugi je Reggae Festival, jedini u Crnoj Gori, i ono što sada pokrećemo u Srbiji još jedan festival, a možda i dva, a ne prevede.
Hello, everybody. So nice to see you here. I could speak in English, but unfortunately I went to bed at 3 a.m., so I'm not really capable of doing that. I would like to say hello to the three ladies joining us today, and thank you for that. So yes, I do organize three festivals, which is Jazz Fest in Petrovac, Reggae Festival, and in Temerin, and also two other festivals. So it's actually four, as I understood, right? Četiri u stvari. Četiri festivala.
Da, mislim da će ići na tu stranu da bude četiri.
And counting, okay.
Isto u Srbiji. Ali ovako, ono što je najbitnije, priča je što sam vas slušao i tako dalje, svako naravno iznosi svoje mišljenje iz svoje zemlje i kako to izgleda i sa svakog stanovišta. Naravno, mi smo Balkan, ovdje drugačija malo situacija, vezano i za honorare i za neke druge stvari, tako da kada upoređujemo Švajcarsku ili bilo koju drugu zemlju, a ne još i u Kini, gde su honorari mnogo veći, mi imamo neke primerene honorare, tako da muzičari tačno znaju i oni koji dolaze kod nas. Ja sam samo na Petrovac Jazz Festivalu za 15 godina imao preko 1600 izvođača iz 40 zemalja, znači širom sveta, kao što je i gospodin Dragan Vlajnić imao, i nadam se da će i Saša Popovski vrlo brzo, za nekih možda već 2-3 godine. Tako da u svakom slučaju meni je jedna priča koju sam iznao još na sastanku 2015. godine u Kini na poziv ministra.
Samo govorim malo posporo i da može da prevođuje. Da imamo prevod.
Ok. Evo sad nek prevede pa ću nastaviti.
Okay. So thank you all for sharing your opinions, and we heard some different experiences from different countries, but still we can mention that this is the Balkans, and the fees that are paid to the artists are very different, let's say, from the ones that are paid in Switzerland. So anyway, I would like to say that the musicians would really love to come to our festival. We have had it for 5 years, and we've had 1,600 artists from 150 countries. And this is, in short, the story that I would like to say, and I'll please continue.
Naravno, ono što želim da kažem, ja sam još 2015. godine na poziv Ministarstva kulture Kine i još 26 direktora Nišvili, mnogi festivali iz čitave Evrope sa kojim sarađujem, promovisao jednu stvar, ono što je jako bitno i što bi trebali u suštini svi da radimo na tom planu, to je manifestacijski turizam.
Okay, so the story I would like to share is that in 2015, I was invited by the Ministry of Culture, and we also had consultations with a lot of festivals, let's say from Niche and all over Europe, that we should actually promote manifestations of the culture, of the city cultures.
Naravno, ta priča se proširila i na Bremen, gde sam bio isto na sajmu Jazzheadu, i tamo smo promovisali isto ovu priču. A zašto? Zato što sa jednim manifestacijskim turizmom vezujemo sve festivale, mnogo je lakše komunicirati i u finansijskom smislu, jer i poenta je uključiti što više ambasada sa kojima ja primjera dosta sarađujem. Tako da meni sad i ovo što pokrećemo u Srbiji, dosta će biti ambasada koje će naravno da pomognu za strane izvođače, i ono što treba da uključimo, to su naravno ministarstva turizma, kulture, i da spajemo zemlje, a to je jedini način ako želimo da uspemo u finansijskom delu.
Okay, so this is not the first time I've mentioned this. I also shared this at the Bremen Jazz Festival, this story about the manifestation tourism, because all the countries we should implement this more and more in all the countries. This is a nice sense of including also the embassies, which can help us, also the ministries of culture and ministries of tourism, so we can have much more musicians, much more artists at our festivals, also merge it with the tourism and get to more finances for our festivals and have them better and better.
Mi festivale ne radimo samo zbog nas ili možda samo zbog grada, nego radimo iz šireg aspekta da bi naravno promovisali jednu zemlju, naravno i grad. Tako da u svakom slučaju trebali bi da malo na tu više temu posvetimo pažnje i nekako animiramo i druge da se priključe, pa da napravimo jedan naš zajednički budžet sa kojim možemo da manipulišemo ili kako god da upravljamo festivalima i da pomažemo jedan drugom u mnogim segmentima, ne samo sa muzičarima, nego možda sutra treba nekome i neki muzički instrument, treba bilo šta oko nekih drugih stvari, tako da mislim da i tu treba da posvetimo neke pažnje. U svakom slučaju, hoću samo da još neću dugo da kažem, I ovo što ja sada radim i u dve zemlje, a sutra možda i u neku treću i tako dalje, možda Sašo budem kod tebe tamo negde u blizini. Hoću da kažem da je najbitnije, ja spajam dve zemlje, po primjera Srbija i Crna Gora, jer se Dragan kaže i upravo je što se tiče financija, ali moramo da potražimo izvore i na druge strane, nisu samo izvori sponzori, nisu samo izvori neke druge situacije, ne kažem, moramo da poguramo i ambasade, moramo da poguramo i neke druge aspekte, da li, evo ja sam na primjer kod mene na festivalu
Vinko, izvini.
No, it's fine. I write down and it's fine, it's okay.
Okay, neka prevede pa ću nastaviti.
Okay, so we do not make this whole fuss and all the festivals and everything just about us. It's not just about us. It has a much wider view to it. We promote the country, we promote the cities, the towns, and we grasp the attention of everybody. So maybe we should pay attention to making this mutual thing, to have mutual budgets, and we make the segments, we work the segments quite nicely. So maybe some musicians would need help, maybe some instruments will need to be provided, and we can also help in that area. It's not just these two countries, Serbia and Crna Gora, that I'm working with. And Montenegro I'm working with. I certainly hope to work somewhere near Sasha and here in the neighborhood. So we should really grasp the financial aspect, the sponsors, the embassies, and many other aspects of this whole story.
Može, Vinko.
Hoću da kažem da šta je poenta svega? Poenta je svega, evo ja živim dobro u Crnoj Gori na moru, ali hoću da uvežem i druge festivale i gradove i da pravimo razmenu od muzičara, ali i u segmentu turizma, jer ćemo dobiti uopšte tu priču nekako pije vodu, kako kaže naš narod, da bi privukli što više ljudi turista, jer tada možemo stvarno da ostvarimo onda dobra sredstva, to znamo svi, jer neće ni turistička organizacija, niti država stati ako nema naravno dobru posjećenost. Ono što kažem, evo već tradicija 15 godina i kod mene nije samo džez, tu je i bluz i etno i evo moji festivali u zadnje vreme 2019. trajali su čak i 18 dana. Tako da u dva grada, Budva i Petrovac, tako da imam ideje i za ova proširenja i vezano za više dana, ali ova situacija kakva jeste, nećemo se vraćati na nju, nego bude iza nas. Mislim da će da vrati tu baš priču koja treba da bude. Može sada prevedeš.
Thank you. So what we have started in Montenegro should also spread in other countries. We should make exchangements, not just between musicians. We should also make touristic exchangements. We should help each other and work together to get to more finances and more help and be better in what we do. For 15 years, I have worked for jazz with this festival in Petrovac with jazz, blues, and ethno, and not just in Petrovac. Also, we had this festival in Budva in 2019. Actually, we had it for 18 days in 2 cities. So we should think about also doing that in other places. We should expand and have more days of festivals and work together.
For participating this hybrid conference, and as a part of the Jazz Festivals Association, we will organize maybe 2 more to the end of this year. And yes, we were thinking about doing this at every jazz festival that is a part of the association. So it will be interesting for all of you to think how to present and how to develop this type of conference. And I can tell you that in the next 3 months, I will try to find some funds for the association, so we can breathe easier, how you say. And we can also help organizing the festivals that are part in this association.